This place really looks different. This park has been here for a while. You never had to pay before, and was really, frankly, kind of dangerous. You didn't have all these guardrails and fences to keep people from falling to their deaths. There used to be deep crevices in the ground you could walk through. We'll see if those things are still here or not. Noccalula Falls is one of the biggest tourist attractions in the state of Alabama. This is in Gadsden, Alabama, which is about an hour from Birmingham. Well worth a trip. Plenty of space, 15 miles of walking trails, and you got that train, of course.
We appreciate y'all coming to Noccalula Falls today and riding the train up to the left from the helicopter thing. I really want to point it out today. That's in honor of our veterans.
So this train just gives you an overview of the street level parts of the park, showing where they've put together some cabins collected from around the area to show a little bit of how life was in the 1700s. The train moves about 6 miles an hour, so this takes about 10 minutes to go around this circular track. Again, as you might have guessed, I'm recording this with a DJI Osmo Action 3 360 camera, where you actually edit the point of focus after doing the recording. You don't really have to point it in any particular direction while you're actually doing the recording, and it makes the selfie stick disappear as you record to give you sort of a drone perspective. Look out for those tree branches. You can actually walk down these crevices that you see to the right if you like a little bit of claustrophobia. They don't really go down very deep, but it's interesting to see if you've never done it before. So this is the walkway down to the gorge to go under and behind the waterfall. This used to be more narrow, as I recall, and seemed a lot scarier when I was a kid, because it was steep and wet, and not always with things to hold on to. But you get an idea of how deep this goes. We'll see how it looks up ahead. So that initial paved part of the walkway, I guess, was just to fool you. As you get a little bit farther along, it gets less and less improved. It's really beautiful here. This place is really a perfect snake habitat, probably for eastern rattlesnakes or diamondback rattlesnakes, but I didn't see a single snake. Saw one turtle, saw a squirrel. Maybe the snakes saw me and just kept their distance, but it's certainly worth paying attention in an area like this, with lots of rocks and many hiding places for creatures. By the end of the day, walking around the creek bed below, my Apple Watch said I walked about 16,000 steps, which is somewhere around 7 miles, and climbed the equivalent of 19 floors of stairs. Because it's not all just straight up when you leave this place, there's ups and downs all along the way. So be prepared to have some exercise. This will make your legs sore for a day or two if it's not something you do every day. While most of these rocks won't move under your weight, some of them will, so you need to choose your steps carefully, because if you fall down and hit one of these sharp-edged rocks, it may not go very well for you. When you check in to get your tickets, they give you a couple of maps, but unfortunately these aren't as helpful as you would like. Even though there's some trail markers, none of the trail markers show up on the map. I found myself using the satellite view on my cell phone to get a better idea of where I was relative to entrances and exits to the gorge area. And here comes that cool drone view. Notice how the selfie stick is digitally removed from the images from the camera. And this selfie stick's really only about 3 feet long, but it manages to zoom back and make it appear that it's watching you from higher up. The amount of water flowing from this waterfall varies with time of the year and recent rain. The creek really doesn't look very substantial, as you'll see later in the video up above. It's really a little difficult to see the scale of this thing until you notice the size of the people. And there's a couple of people walking behind the falls right now, and you can see they look pretty darn tiny. They say the water drop is about 90 feet. The water underneath doesn't look very deep, but it's deep enough to jump off the top, though that's certainly not permitted today. Walking back away from the falls, beyond the place where I dropped down, you eventually get to this suspension bridge. When I saw the sign pointing out a suspension bridge, I was imagining something 100 feet off the water with a see-through floor. This one's actually pretty stable and pretty substantial, so I didn't get to have the adrenaline I was hoping for. It does get you to the other side okay. Finally, a creature. This squirrel certainly didn't seem very timid. I imagine he's seen a few humans and maybe nobody mistreated him before, because he lets the camera get pretty darn close. This is the view of the falls away from the highway. There are picnic areas and a campground up the hill from here. So of course I'm showing off the 360 cam features again. This bridge takes you over the stream that feeds the waterfall, and like a lot of places that I've visited, people put padlocks along the bridge to signify the permanency of their relationships. There were signs all over the place saying no swimming and no wading, but I don't see any water cops arresting those people, so I guess it's okay. So they have the statue of the princess here that allegedly was the daughter of one of the Indian kings who jumped to her death on her planned wedding day. The plaque says the legend of Noccalula. So that's it for today's tour of Noccalula Falls Park near Gadsden, Alabama, about an hour from Birmingham. You can find this pretty easily online if you care to visit. You could spend a day here or spend multiple days here depending on how much hiking you want to do. It was getting pretty warm by about 2 in the afternoon, so it was time for me to get out of here and find some ice cream.